time for another engaging virtual meetings podcast. I'm broadcasting live today from the One Hotel in Seattle, Washington. Its history is that it used to be the Pan Pacific Hotel, and it was recently purchased by somebody else. And this hotel specializes in sustainability. I'll be running the MPI Washington State Chapter meeting today. Meanwhile, if you're watching this broadcast here on social media, make sure and subscribe, share, like, and comment. And if you want to see all the episodes, go to engagingvirtualmeetings.online. You can see every episode. We release a new episode every Wednesday, and already over 100 episodes. And fun fact, let's see, it's distributed on all 13 of your favorite podcast platforms. I'm adding number 14 right now, actually, as we're talking about. And if you are interested in engaging, come to our engaging retreat. It's in October every year here in Seattle, Washington, and live on Zoom, so you can come and attend from wherever you are. Speaking of wherever you are, I was with this guest in Orlando, and we got a chance to have expo booths next to each other, and she actually got to sit in on a hybrid session where we got to connect virtual audiences to the in-person audience, and we hope we got a chance to learn a little bit about that. In addition to that, she runs one of the social media companies that sponsors GSM, or Government Social Media Con. Let's welcome Angela Schultman. Hi, Angela. How are you?
Hey, John, I'm good. How are you?
Oh, we're good here. We actually have a decent day in Seattle. We were just talking weather earlier about hot, humid, and muggy as dry heat, right, Angela? So today, what do you have today on your side?
We've got about 92 here in Atlanta, nice and humid because we had some storms last night. And the dogs, obviously, with storms, it was a sleepless night. And today we are living in a lot of humidity.
Not living the dream, living the
Right.
humidity.
Living in humidity, yep.
That's too funny. Cool. All right. Well, Angela, for my friends who don't know you, take a minute to introduce yourself and a little bit about the company that you work for.
Yeah, my name's Angela Schutzman, and I'm in the Atlanta area. I work for a company called Social News Desk. We're a social media management and archive company. We specialize in news, government, and education. We've been in business. September will be 15 years. I've been here for about 2.5 years now. And some personal items. Like I mentioned, I have two dogs. Some folks refer to me as Pom Mom because I have two Pomeranians. And September will be 25 years married to my husband. So he has put up with me for 25 years.
Well, you're breaking the odds here in this country, right? Well, maybe that's the question, right? Okay, what do you think is your secret to relationship success, or at least
Oh,
25 years?
100% is 100% laughter. Having someone that you guys can just laugh about things and have that same weird sense of humor is like 75% of it.
What, can you have an example, something that the two of you laugh about, or a show you love, or something like that?
Yes. So we were on our way years ago. This is probably 20 years ago. We were on our way to Tybee Island, Georgia, Tybee Island, Georgia, right in the South.
Hmm.
We were driving, and this was before GPS. So we were using the printout of MapQuest. Turns out we'd been going the wrong way for like 3 hours, which it should only take 3.5 hours to get there. I realized we were in Alabama, and I was like, okay, so I may have told you to make a wrong turn somewhere. So that weekend we did not make it to Tybee Island. We just hung out in Alabama.
That's so funny. I was on I think it was a board meeting. It was like a virtual board meeting, and I was driving. And so I started the board meeting, and I was just on headphones only. But all of a sudden, I realized, like an hour into this board meeting, going, I should be home by now. Where am I? And I had turned the wrong way. I went south instead of north on I-5. And so now it's like an hour completely out of the way. So that was, yeah, it was hilarious.
Yeah, not much you can do about it other than laugh and just kind of, okay, now this is what we're doing.
Now, social news desk, is it archiving? Is that what I remember? That
Yeah, we do archiving for social media. We also do social media management. On our management dashboard side, our customers have access to social listening. publishing, scheduling, and analytics. We
Hmm.
do have a unique integration with Nextdoor. So with Nextdoor, you're able to create posts, schedule out those posts, and you're also able to create listening streams into different neighborhoods, which for our government customers has been a huge game changer, especially during crisis situations, being
Oh,
able to
being
listen into different neighborhoods.
is that so? You're just saying regionally, you could say I only want to like listen to everything that's happening in this area, so something like that.
Exactly. So for example, you're in Seattle right now and you could put in Seattle into our dashboard for the listening aspect.
Hmm.
And maybe you want to listen to what people are saying on Nextdoor in just Seattle so you can see that. Or if you're more interested, maybe there was bad weather happening, flooding happening in Seattle. You could put in Seattle, Washington flooding, and then you would see the posts that people are posting out onto Nextdoor with the word flooding in there. And then if you were, a city or a fire department or a police department, you would say, oh, we have flooding. We can deploy resources out to those different neighborhoods.
Oh,
Um,
do you have a story then of someone using your product? Right, obviously, Texas is in the news right now, but I'm just curious if you have caught wind of, a government using your product and being able to do something that they weren't able to do before.
Yeah, absolutely. We have one of our customers down in Florida, Charlotte County. They were one of those counties last year that were hit with those back-to-back-to-back hurricanes. And by the time they were hit with that second hurricane, their resources were then people were still sending, other states were still sending resources down to Florida, but their 911 was down. So they were able to use the next door listening to create different streams in different neighborhoods to see what people were saying, if there was fire
Wow.
flooding, and we're able to deploy resources out before things got too backed up during that time when it was a bit of a crazy time having those three come through at the same time.
Oh, it's crazy. Actually, I'd love to hear your view on this. But somebody on, WASDOT or Washington State Department of Transportation is actually a pretty well-known social media account. One, they do some funny things, but two, they do some really valuable things like alerting to people to traffic. And somebody was on there saying, "Oh, what a waste of government money!" All right. And can you talk to me about like the value of governments being able to communicate, of course, with their people? It sounds obvious, but it's not, there are some people out there who don't realize what social media managers do. And the other one too, WASDOT replied with going, "You think it's a waste of money? There's only two of us for the whole state," right? So, all the other ways of doing it, I think it would be a lot less efficient. But yeah, I'd love to hear what do you know or what do you hear about that, Angela?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's imperative for governments entities to be able to communicate to their community. One reason, you would definitely want to be able to communicate if there's especially an unexpected road closure,
Yeah.
or if there is just, sometimes when you have high profile folks like presidents come into town, they have to reroute traffic. And if you don't know that and you're leaving work and all of a sudden you're 45-minute drive home is an hour and 45 minutes, you're pretty upset that nobody let you know.
Yeah.
Whereas if you were a government entity that, you had your followers, you could say, hey, warning, tomorrow traffic is rerouted or this bridge is closed, there are detours. Being able to notify your citizens is really important. It also helps humanize your government department as well. I've spoke to prospects where they're using like a social media to highlight one police officer every
Hmm.
week
Hmm.
in large cities where they have like like every Tuesday is when they would highlight an officer, give a
Hmm.
quick background, how long they've been there, to kind of connect the police department with the community. So it is really important not only for critical communication, but also in being able to communicate things where you're humanizing your different departments. And also, if you're a city and you want to be able to connect, it's summertime. We have a lot of folks that are doing like family movie night on Friday, like Wing Wednesday, where the community gets together on Wednesdays, in the smaller communities and have wings, different wing vendors. You're able to let your community know about this, and it creates a good communication across your community and your government folks as well.
Well, thanks, Angela. I'm actually using that idea. I'm on the board for National Speakers Association, the Northwest chapter, and I just recently started a series. So once a week, I posted our new board members who came out, and it's fun because then people actually are tagging on to that, and get people are making sure they know who's running the show at least for this year. So that humanizing I think is really an important piece. How'd you get into this work, Angela, or what did you do before you were at Social News Desk?
Yeah, great question. Well, I've been in sales for a very long time, since 1999, not to age myself. Um, but I was looking for a new opportunity. I was selling AI at the time and was looking for a new opportunity and saw Social News Desk. I had a job listed on LinkedIn, had my initial interview and thought, oh my gosh, like this place sounds really awesome. Then when I got through the interview process, the final interview was a panel interview. And I got to talk with our head of products, another sales rep, and one of our person that runs our customer success, and thought, these are like my kind of people where we still run like a small business. There's 14 of us, but we're also owned by Graham Media Group, so we have the backing of a large company, and everyone that works here is just as passionate as I am about what we do. And also, I had a product tour as well and saw our product and thought, wow, if I can understand this and see the concept, like this is a simple, like easy way for folks to communicate. I also love social media, just as a regular person. I use social media all the time. We have a family page. It keeps our family connected. We have family
Mm.
all over the place. And I'm here in Georgia. I have family all the way out in California and overseas. And we're able to stay connected using social media.
Oh, yeah. Connection is such an important piece around here, especially with family, and especially as families get dispersed. Who
Yeah.
lives the farthest away?
I would say probably my cousin Ashley. She lives in San Diego. She's so
Oh,
lucky. She lives out there with her husband, and they have 4 kids. So when I go out to San Diego, we'll meet up at Coronado Island, so I can see
yeah.
kids.
Oh, I just went to ice cream there earlier this year. So you'll have to check out the other social media conference then. Social Media Marketing World is in San Diego every year, but it's not directed towards government, but it is directed towards social media. It was EMC at a program for the first time this year. It's their 10th anniversary. And I've been sharing notes between the two conferences. Let me check this out then. All right, so let's go back to March of 2020. So were you at Social Media News Desk? Uh,
No, I was not there March when everything went bananas, when the world stopped.
so what was your bananas? Let us know a little more about what happened on March of 2020. What were you doing and how'd you deal with it?
Yeah, I was working at another SaaS company,
Mm.
and all of a sudden we had an emergency virtual meeting from the CEO. And
Oh,
ironically enough, I had just gotten back from a cruise. My husband and I had gone on a cruise with my brother and his wife. We had our little COVID kit. We had brought, a bunch of hand sanitizer and masks and that type of thing in case anything were to happen. We could have canceled it, but we live on the edge. We thought, why not? We're gonna go on this cruise and hope for the best. So we were on the last cruise that Norwegian Cruise Line had allowed out before COVID. So then the
wow.
following week, our CEO at the company I was at had did a quick call and was like, "We're closing down for the rest of the week. COVID is real. Take the rest of the day and the rest of the week off to go get groceries, go prepare for your family," which was great. But my husband was in Austin on business. So he temporarily got stuck in Austin. He had to rent a car and drive back to Atlanta. We had no groceries because he was on a trip, I was on a business trip. Then we went on our cruise. So I'm at the grocery store in this pandemonium grocery store, just grabbing whatever was left on the shelf and hoping for the best.
That's funny. So then, did your company keep going on? Did you find work from home, or did other things happen?
No, great question. I've ironically been working from home for about 15 years. So there was no transition period from working from home. The
Yeah.
biggest transition period for me, even though I've been working from home for so many years, was no longer getting on a plane to meet with someone. It
Oh
was
yeah.
more instead of driving to an office or going to Atlanta Airport and, flying somewhere, we were all on Zooms or go-to meetings or Skype, whatever was used at that time. And a lot of other companies had to scramble because they were more face to face. So, like, you want to meet, we need to meet like virtually because nobody was meeting, in person during that time.
Right. All right. Well, okay. So, what were some of the things that you noticed, or what were some of your best practices, or the funniest things that you said you like to laugh. I'm just curious, what were some of the funny things that happened in early COVID during these meetings?
Oh, all sorts of things. I think the most interesting thing that happened, not necessarily funny, is getting to be in the homes of other people. So
Yeah.
getting to know people. I love people. I mean, I'm in sales. I love people. I love conversation. And usually it's face to face either at an in-person event, like where you and I met at GSM or it's in someone's office. So getting to sit in my office and then having someone in their living room or kitchen. It was very interesting to see that the difference. We did see in the beginning a lot of, kids were home, so a lot of you're trying to have conversation and the kids are playing in the background and their parents are like, "I'm so sorry, there's no school." I was like, "It's no big deal, like this is COVID. We're in uncharted territory, this is totally fine." But it was just interesting to get a sneak peek into how people live.
Yeah, the only way I did that before, Angela, is that I actually was a pizza delivery driver. So I used to tell people like I'd get like a 3 minute glimpse into like 20 or 15 different people's lives in a night.
Right?
And but yeah, somebody actually I thought had the best close as a speaker during COVID, right? So thank you for inviting me into a part of your home today.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a
So
good close, that's for sure.
if you are the person, or if you're attending a meeting, right, whether it's a one-on-one meeting or somebody else's presentation, what has to happen for you to be totally engaged in that meeting?
Yeah, I love this question. There's a few things that really help with that. One is having a clear purpose, having a nice short agenda, really knowing why we're meeting and what we're trying to accomplish during this meeting. I think really helps with engagement. Also with participation. So I know not everyone is comfortable speaking on a public forum.
Hmm.
Um, when I've been in the larger kind of meetings, being able to have breakout rooms and seeing people that were quiet, how they, are no longer quiet when it goes from like 60 people down to like 5 people. And also having visuals, I think is really important depending on what you're talking about. But the caveat to having visuals is it's not very engaging if you have like a slide and that person is like reading word for word from the slide. Like instead, like tell me a story about your slide or the screenshot that you're sharing, or if you're screen sharing anything, instead of like reading word for word. Because I could do that as well. I just want to hear you describe the slide or what's happening in that instead of you reading word for word. And then
Yeah,
of course,
there's a statistic, Angela, which is like I think you can read the slide 4 times faster than anybody could ever say the slide.
yes.
All right, so that's why you should never do that.
Right, yeah. I'll use slides occasionally, but very rarely do if there's bullets, I may hit up on the bullets, but usually there's a story behind a slide.
Yeah, better is just show a picture, right? And
Yeah.
maybe 3 words of what the key point is. You'll have to check out, Angela, if you do create a lot of graphics or you know somebody who does. I'm also the producer for something called the Presentation Summit. And the Presentation Summit happens once a year. This will happen this fall. And it has like half of the Microsoft MVPs for PowerPoint on it. And these people, like I'm still learning. It's crazy. I've been on PowerPoint for probably over 40 years now. And every time I meet these people, I'm like, I had no idea it did this.
You're always
So,
learning. I always tell people I'm a student of life. No matter how long I'm doing something, there's always more that you can learn to what you're doing because things are always evolving and changing.
well, speaking of evolving and changing, then, so what do you think is the future of either virtual or hybrid, especially in the social media world? I mean, social media in its essence is an all virtual platform. But yeah, I'm curious, what do you see in the future, again, for virtual or hybrid?
I One thing that I really see is more of a like a VR meeting type.
Mm,
of experience for folks, meaning, we have the goggles now where you can walk through and virtually be in a boardroom. I think that that will evolve in the coming years. I think that being able to have the kind of a VR meeting space will not only evolve us kind of humanizing the virtual meeting and feeling like, hey, you're in Seattle, I'm in Atlanta, but we're sitting at a table together, but also for accessibility features,
mm,
if you have someone, for example, that's deaf and you're having a conversation, there's a translator on the other end. Whereas if you have a virtual meeting, you actually may have someone there doing that sign language for that person. So I could really see that bringing us together where it feels more like a human face-to-face meeting.
yeah.
Um, and I think AI is going to be huge. I'm sure it's already changing. It already analyzes and summarizes your meetings, but maybe even having like a live coach. I don't know if this is existing, but having a live coach that's like you're talking too fast or you're using too much slang, something to let you know live so you can pivot what you're saying so you can communicate properly through.
Oh, Angela, you got to check out these two talking about AI. One is called Udly, Yoodli, Yoodli. Udly is that coach in real time. All
Oh,
right, and
very
apparently
cool.
they did a deal. Every Toastmaster member has access to this program, and it does. One of the things I'd used it for is I was able to reduce as my number one filler word to like number six in 3 months by watching the feedback on this. And the other one is Virtual Sapiens Sidekick, owned by CEO Rachel, and it'll do things like if I lean off to the side here, it'll actually give you feedback that you're off center, and if you
Oh.
come back to center, it'll give you engagement points, like telling you, hey, you did a good job. If there's multiple things that you do that says a good job, they actually kind of gamified it by creating a point system that it'll score you while you're in a live meeting. So you can actually run the monitor like just under or above your camera. It's crazy.
That's very cool. I can imagine having that early on in my career, how being able to be polished, like being live polished while you're, having your meetings and things. That would be very cool. The technology is incredible.
Yeah, and that's some of it's here. The other one I heard about that's related, Angela, is that Google Meet now has um, real-time translation. So let's say you're meeting someone in Spanish. I think it was the first language that they did. So if I'm speaking in English, it's actually interpreting me and giving um, Spanish to the receiver, right? And they speak Spanish, and then it translates to English, and then gives me back the voice this way. So imagine that you could start doing sales in other countries without having to learn the language.
Yeah, that would be incredible, for sure. Yeah, having that language, that would be really cool. It's becoming where we're all very connected in this world. So
Yeah.
having technology, it even connects us even more where, like you just said, there Google Meets does now have that translator. Well, now we can speak with other people. I could talk with, someone, in China and be able to have a conversation, and there would not be like a language barrier on either side.
Cool. All right. Well, check this out. How about the speed version of this interview? Oh, I've been writing some questions down while I've been interviewing you, and so I'm going to ask you a couple questions. And you have to answer them as fast as you can, as long as you're okay with that.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. One of the reasons why you love dogs.
Oh gosh, because they give you unconditional love and they always love to snuggle and they always know when they need to come and snuggle if you've had a bad day.
Oh, and let's see. Wait. Oh, I guess I have. I don't know if I have. Oh, I'd have to push another button. Sometimes I have sounds on here. Okay. Well, we're going to speed round just with questions only. What was your first social media platform?
Oh, it was MySpace was my very first one. I had music and everything on MySpace. It was very, very cool. I was like, hey, this is a really cool tool.
Did you play music or did you just post other people's music?
Just posted other people's music. So when
Okay,
you came onto
gotcha.
MySpace, there was like a song, there was different songs that would come on when you would land on my page.
Can I ask, did you have a user ID? Oh,
I did, I don't remember what it was. It was probably very boring. It was probably something like A
tangent.
Schultzman, like
Got it.
9/11 or something, like something very, very boring.
Okay, got it. All right, what was your first sale?
Oh wow, my first sale was at ADT, and I sold into a it was a commercial chicken shop, like fried chicken.
Oh, okay.
I was
And
like 23, I think I was, and I celebrated, went to my parents' house afterwards. I have a picture of myself somewhere holding a glass of wine after my very first sale many,
oh,
many years ago.
ADT, that was a security system,
Yeah,
right?
security system, yep.
Protect the chicken. Okay, your best putt.
My best putt.
Putt, yeah, you got golf
Oh yeah,
clubs
yeah.
behind you. Okay.
It was, oh gosh, it was probably about 10 years ago now, 2015. That's, oh my gosh, 2015 is 10 years now. And we were doing a scramble, and the ball landed in the green, and then I was able to putt, and it w went the very first time. So we ended up winning that tournament. It was for charity.
Oh,
We ended up winning, I think it was like $5,000 to a cancer charity. And
oh,
it was really cool. And it was good bragging rights on myself because I'd really talked myself up, and I thought, oh boy, we're gonna if I can't get this putt, we're not gonna win.
there you go. Yeah, you feel like the master, the charity version of the Masters. Okay,
Exactly.
let's see. Best vacation.
Oh, hands down, it was the first time. Actually, no, not the first time. It was Paris about 2 years ago
Ooh,
at Christmas.
ooh.
My husband and I had went to Paris for Christmas. 3-day blitz. We love to do blitzes because we're squirrels. We get, we can't stay somewhere too long. And I had this very strict itinerary to see the Louvre, to go to Versailles, see all these things within a very short period of time, and it was hands down the best trip ever for sure.
Oh, love Paris. Definitely go see the Modern Art Museum. I think it's the Guggenheim. If you haven't done that, do that.
We have not done that yet. Yes, would
Oh,
love to do that.
okay. What's a weird item you grabbed during COVID shopping?
Yeah, it was oh gosh. It was frozen yams. And I know it doesn't sound weird, but I don't like yams, but there was nothing left. So I grabbed frozen yams. There was like five of them. So I grabbed them. And when my husband came home from Austin from his trip, he was like, "Why did you get yams?" I don't know. Like, we're gonna be hungry. We didn't have anything.
That's funny. That's a good one. Person you want to give a shout out to since you love people.
Oh man, would love to give there's so many people to give a shout out to, but I would definitely say my husband David, give him a shout out. He's a fantastic person, and anyone that knows him is lucky to know him. He's one of those folks that if you lose him in the grocery store, you can hear him laughing. If you're in the milk aisle and you're on the other side of the grocery store, you can hear him laughing because he never meets a stranger.
Oh, funny. All right. And what's one of your wishes for this year? Something that you would like to happen before the end of this year?
Yeah, great question. I would love to be able to take some time off, and go to Greece this
Mm.
year. That would be fantastic if I could find the time to take off. Greece is I'm not a huge believer in having too many things on your bucket list. You should, if you have a bucket list, it needs to be a short one, because you need to start checking things off. That's something that's been on my bucket list for quite some time, is getting to see Greece for sure.
Outstanding. And if people could magically remember one thing from this interview, what's the one thing you wish they would remember?
I think it would be the love for dogs, because I think people should be the person that they think that their dogs think that they are.
Oh, well, thank you. Angela, thank you so much for joining me on the Engaging Virtual Meeting podcast and for sharing a little experience in your sales world, in your social media world. I put the link to the company there, social news, was it Social Media News Desk?
A social news desk.
Social News Desk, that's right, socialnewsdesk.com. So it's in the link. You can check it out there. And if you're interested, you can find out Angela there. Angela, I look forward to seeing you. The odds are high that I will be in Orlando or at Government Social Media. Oh, that's right. There's multiple locations actually right now. They haven't decided. But I look forward to hopefully seeing you next year, and we can have more hijinks in the expo station. Hopefully you saw some of the, what do we play? Heads or tails, bingo. There was a number of items that apparently people dug on that one. So,
Yeah, that was a great session for sure. The
yeah.
whole every day was great, full of all kinds of wonderful things.
Well, Angela, next year you should bring a putting station.
I know, right? Yes.
If you're going to golf it up, we'll bring a putting station and you and I will duke it out a little bit and we'll putt 3 for 4, 3 out of 5 or something. Cool. Angela, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate you being here on the Engaging Virtual Meetings podcast.
Thank you so much and have a great rest of your week.
Thank you. All right, we've been visiting with Angela Schultman, who just says, all right, who let the dogs out? Think about the value dogs can have in at least your life or your friend's life, and uh, and see if you can help a dog out somewhere along the way. Pets are great. Speaking of pets, we're on social media where dogs and cats rule. What was the last thing we saw this week? Oh my goodness. It was a turtle that had a ladybug costume on it that was crawling around, and apparently that's going viral. If you're on social media, hey, subscribe, share, like, and comment. We're almost to 2,500 episode downloads on our podcast. So help us out, and you can go to engagingvirtualmeetings.online, download or subscribe there. A new episode every Wednesday. If you want to come and learn more about how to be more engaging, come to the Engaging Conference. It's this year, October 28th through the 30th, here in Seattle and online. Go to engagingvirtualmeetings.com/CON. And if you want to be like Angela, well then hit engagingvirtualmeetings.com/meet, select interview, and you too could be the next guest here on the Engaging Virtual Meetings podcast. Hey, we look forward to seeing you next time.